Welcome everyone to this session, to this breakout room. Okay, so today we prepared a really small, from each lab in Nijmegen, there will be presentations and they're all about 5 minutes long. And I'll start with presenting my lab. And I'll share my screen, and all the presentations, I think I have received them, so I will be pressing next as you tell me to go to the next slide. But I'll start with Donder's AI for Neurotech Lab, and let me start with the presentation without any further ado. Okay. So I hope you can all see my screen. So welcome to ICAI Lab, to ICAI Day today. In this session, we have Donder's AI for Neurotech Lab, AI for Health Lab, TIRA Lab, AI for Precision Health and Nutrition Lab, and AI for Risk Profiling and Decision Support Lab. And I'm quickly going over to the first lab, which I am the lab manager of. My name is Jheronimus, and you can reach me via this email if you learn something that you're interested in the following few minutes. And the lab director of our lab is Professor Marcel van Gerwen, and as I mentioned, the name of our lab is Donder's AI for Neurotech Lab. Okay, next slide. So what do we do in this lab? This is a relatively new lab, and we formed this lab via a NWO crossover grant that we have received in the topic of neurotechnology. It is actually a rather large grant with many partners from all over the Netherlands and also international partners. And it has a component with artificial intelligence, and we wanted to combine all these components into a single ICAI lab. And so it is led by the people at Donder's Institute. So we called it Donder's AI for Neurotech Lab. And our main goal in this lab is to develop machine learning solutions for brain reading and writing technologies, such as neural implants, cochlear implants, and brain-computer interfaces. And this is our website address, ai4neuro.tech. You can have a look at our projects there. It is quite new and maybe a bit incomplete yet, but you can have a look regardless. Okay, so next I want to say a few words about all our partners and all the projects that we are working on. So I'll start with the AI for Visual Neuroprosthetics. So this is a really exciting project for us. We take part in the development of a really new technology, which is visual implants for blind people, which would make them be able to regain some sort of vision again. And this project is a collaboration between Netherlands Institute for Neuroscience, University Miguel Hernandez, and FOS Phoenix, and of course Radboud University. Okay. The other project, the second project that we have is AI for Cochlear Implants. And in this project, we use various signal processing methods in order to better process the auditory stimulus and convert it into better signals for cochlear implant usage. And the partners that are involved in this project are Leiden University Medical Center and Advanced Bionics, as well as Radboud University. Another project that we are working on is AI for decoding cognitive states. This is more about developing new techniques for decoding things like emotion, attention, stress, and observing people. And this is a collaboration with One Planet and Radboud University. And the last project that we have is about decoding of motor control and also speech. So there we work with Maastricht University, Maastricht UMC, UMC Utrecht and Abbott. And I think that is all my slides. So at the end of the session, we'll have like 5 minutes for questions. So I would like to now move on and give the word to AJ.
Thanks, Shamar. I'm AJ Patel. I'm one of the coordinators or lab managers for Radboud AI for Health. Next, please. So AI for Health is a collaboration between Radboud University and Radboud University Medical Center, which was launched in September of 2019. So we've been busy for almost 1.5 years now. Next, please. And healthcare is seen as one of the areas where AI will have a large impact, and data is ubiquitous in hospital and is available in many forms, such as genetic information, clinical signs and measurements, all types of radiological information in images, and text reports in medical health records. This data forms the basis for decision-making, diagnosis of all different types of diseases, detection of acute and long-term risks, and treatment plans, treatment decisions, and real-time support for things like surgery and intervention. Next, please. So AI can support clinical decisions and assist in numerous ways, improve healthcare by finding better ways to extract this clinical information from all the data that is available in the hospital. So by carrying out projects within the hospital, we can extract the data available in healthcare and make it available for research. Yeah, next slide, please. So there are currently 6 PhD projects in the lab, and they are on a variety of different subjects, ranging from predicting high-risk events in intensive care units patients. We have a project on the identification of rare genetic disorders from genetic information, and, for example, another project working on creating a tool to assist in the prediction of lower back pain using MRI scans. Next, please. So there's funding available to facilitate around 30 master internships within the lab. Each project has a duration of 6 months, and the students work towards creating an innovation or a tool that can be used at the end of their research. So this is in the form of a deliverable like an app or an algorithm. In exchange for this, all the students receive a reimbursement of 500 euros a month. And each student is required then to maintain and update a web page on our internet site. And in the end, they should upload their code and their algorithm onto that web page, make it freely available. Students are supervised by both a clinical supervisor who works within our hospital and an AI supervisor from their master program. And they are expected to present twice during our weekly meeting, once halfway through their project and once for a final defense. Next, please. And twice a year, we also organize a course for medical professionals in collaboration with JADS. And this course offers professionals from the hospital a deeper understanding of AI applications in healthcare. And the course program consists of 18 Fridays where there's lectures in the morning and practical Python assignments in the afternoons. And the course is finished with, I think it's 4 days where they work in group projects working on real problems using AI, so they can put their knowledge directly into practice. Next, please. All information you can find on our website, which is ai-for-health.nl. You can find pages for all the master's and PhD projects on this site, and also the schedule for our weekly meeting. I forgot to put that in the sheets, but we've recently moved to organizing our meeting on Meetup. So you can Google for Meetup Radboud AI for Health and join our weekly meeting. We have discussions with the students on their projects. They give an update, so every 3 months. And we also have guest speakers that we plan. That was my overview of Radboud AI for Health.
Okay, thank you, AJ. So next we have Tira Lab.
Yes, thank you for the invite and having to tell something about the Tira Lab. So the Tira Lab is a basically collaboration between Tirona, Delft Imaging, and the Radboud University Medical Center. And within the Tira Lab, we're focusing on medical image analysis, providing solutions to help radiologists, health ophthalmologists, healthcare providers, basically in the decision-making and helping them to improve their performance, but also to make it more cost-effective in healthcare. So next slide, please. I forgot to put the link to the TR Lab website, but if you're interested, please do let me know or just Google it. So actually the collaboration between these three parties already started a few years back. So in the late 90s, actually it started with the collaboration with Delft Imaging to develop an X-ray analysis package called CAT4TB for the detection of tuberculosis on X-ray images. Later on, there was also a project on chest CT analysis specifically for COPD detection, classification, and quantification for large clinical trials. And in 2014, Tirona was founded as a spin-off of the Radboud University Medical Center, and specifically as a spin-off of the Diagnostic Image Analysis Group, where Professor Van Ginneke and Dr. Van Rixhoort founded Tirona, doing analysis of chest CT scans, mainly for COPD analysis. And in 2016, also other work that was done at the Radboud UMC was also moved to Tirona, was on retinal image analysis. And later on, also the CAT4TB product that was actually already between the collaboration with Delft Imaging was also moved to Tirona, where now all the product development basically takes place at Tirona. At the Radboud UMC, as the research party within the TR Lab, a lot of algorithms are being developed, focusing, of course, on the medical image analysis. At Tirona, they are more put towards products ready for clinical deployment. Also, CE certification is done within Tirona. And Delft Imaging is a company focusing mostly on the distribution of the software, being as a distributor. Also, mainly active in the low-income countries, like African countries, where they mainly focus on the X-ray solution that's being developed within the TR Lab, but also for retinal image analysis and also for the other package on CT. They're doing a little bit less there because that's more for the developed countries. If you can go to the next slide. So though within TR Lab, we basically have three main areas that we focus on, three main domains. One is the just X-ray domain, the other one chest CT, and the other one a retinal domain. And in total, I think there are now 8 PhD students at the Radboud UMC. There are about 8 to 9 deep learning engineers at Tirona. And then there are some people involved at Delft Imaging, more for the deployment and sales related aspects. We all work together within the TR Lab to make products, going from the very early stage, like the development, trying out new tools, towards the real implementation at Tirona, and then the deployment with Delft Imaging. For chest X-ray, we mainly focus on tuberculosis, where we have the product CAT4TB on the market, but we also focus on other diseases like cardiomegaly, silicosis, or most recently also COVID-19. With retina, we are currently focused on, well, fundus image analysis. In the future, we might also want to do OCT analysis. That's like the 3D form for retinal imaging. And at the moment, we're focusing mostly on diabetic retinopathy, age-related macular degeneration, and glaucoma. And these are, well, the product on retina, it's called RedCat. It's mainly focused on screening of those diseases to be able to early detect those diseases. Because, for example, for diabetic retinopathy, a lot of people are at risk of developing this disease, and then screening is the most important thing that you can do to prevent the disease from happening. And what better to use than AI for screening? There's a lot of amount of images, and the task is, well, it's a relatively canned task. Like, this is the thing that you need to do, basically sending a patient for referral, yes or no. And the same holds actually with X-ray, with the tuberculosis. That's also the idea for screening. Does somebody has TB suspicious, yes or no? If so, then it should go for additional testing. Then the third line is with CHEST-CT. There it's mainly focused on the pharmaceutical image analysis to say for clinical trials, but also for clinical care market. There we do like segmentation of anatomical structures, like lung segmentation, lobe segmentation. With that, we also do the volumetric analysis, like how many of the lung tissue is, for example, affected by a certain disease. What is the volume of each of the lobes? We also do analysis of the tissue destruction, density evaluations, visual evaluation, and we all provide all these results in like standardized reports that radiologists are used to, and they're also using those in clinical trials. And quite recently, we also developed the software solution called CAT for COVID, also in the fight against the pandemic to the COVID disease. It was also developed as a collaboration within the TIRA lab. And I think this was my last slide on it.
Thank you very much, Mark. Next, we have AI for precision health and nutrition and behavior lab. I think Tibor will present.
Yes, that's me. Thank you, Yamur, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is indeed Tibor Bosse. It's my pleasure to introduce you this new ICAI lab, AI for precision health, nutrition, and behavior, indeed. So this lab was launched about 2 months ago, mid-February. So we're active for 2 months now. And well, as you can see on this slide, it's really a collaboration between 2 locations, between Nijmegen and Wageningen in particular. And that's mainly because the key initiator of this initiative is One Planet Research Center. So One Planet, as you may know, is a multidisciplinary collaboration between Radboud University, Wageningen University and Research, and also IMEC, the international key player with respect to nanotechnology. And together they introduced this initiative. So next slide, please. So what is this about? As you can see here, it's all focusing on developing intelligent technology to coach people in a personalized individual manner to adopt a healthy lifestyle. So I think in an initial version of our proposal, we used the title Healthy Lifestyle and Behavior Change. But in the end, we changed it to the current title because that's the same key area that One Planet already uses. But it's all about, so developing interventions that collect data about individuals and, coach them, support them to adopt healthy behavior. So you may think of helping people to eat more healthy food, to quit smoking, to be more physically active, these kinds of behaviors. And on a high level, we do this in 3 steps, as you can see here in the 3 bullets. So that's more or less related to the classical sense, reason, and act cycle. So on the one hand, we collect a lot of data. We use various sensors like wearables, physiological measurements, but also text and speech-based input. Then we process that. We develop machine learning algorithms to really interpret the data. And in the end, we develop interventions in a personalized manner, for instance, in the form of chatbots to coach people on their behavior. Next slide, please. So yes, this one. So I already told that One Planet is the key initiator, and IMEC I mentioned. Altogether, we have a couple of partners, most of them in the East Netherlands area. So yeah, varying from small companies focusing on the tech part, so chatbot companies or companies interested in sensor technology, to companies interested in the domain like personalized healthcare and behavior change. So this is the total list of our partners. Yes, next slide, please. So we organize our entire lab according to these 4 work packages. So they are roughly related to the 4 different areas, 4 different aspects of behavior that we focus on. So the first one is regarding food and nutrition, mainly Wageningen involved there. Second one is focusing on cognitive decline, mainly for the elderly population. Then we have a work package on various healthy behaviors, in particular smoking cessation and sexual health promotion. And the fourth one is about a specific medical condition called orthostatic hypotension, which is associated with certain drops in blood pressure. So yes, you can see 4 diverse application domains, but altogether they share the whole idea of collecting data about people's behavior and coaching in a personalized manner. And we also noticed that there's a little bit of differentiation with respect to the AI techniques used in these work packages. So for instance, work package 1 really focuses on deep learning, whereas work package 3 is more working on NLP and chatbots. But, so in that sense, we try to facilitate some cross-fertilization between the different work packages in this lab. Yes, please, next slide. So, and the final slide. So yeah, this is our team for this lab. As you can see on the first row, Guido Kamps from Wageningen and myself are the scientific directors. So we're also in the lead of work package 1 and 3. Then we have Ruud van Stiphout from One Planet, who is our lab manager. And we have 2 professors from Radboud, Elena Marchiori and Ton Kolen, who are in the lead of work package 2 and 4. And actually later today, Guido Kamps will also give a more detailed presentation about the part of the research that Wageningen is conducting. So that will be in the next breakout session. And then finally, on the bottom row, you can see all of our PhDs and postdocs. We have 7 PhDs and 2 postdocs at the moment. And I think this number is still increasing. So that promises a lot. And last but not least, I also realized that I did not include our web page, but I will paste it in the chat right now in case you're interested. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Tibor. Okay, next we have Rondo Lab. Edita, are you presenting? You are muted.
Sorry about that. Thanks, Jagmo. Good afternoon, everyone. So the last Nijmegen ICAI lab is also the newest one. We just had our kickoff a week ago. And it's a very similar in the sense, similar as the last one presented by Tibor Bosse, in the sense that it's been set up from One Planet Research Center. That was the initiative in collaboration with Radboud University and Radboud UMC. Next slide, please, Jagmo. Yeah. And a little bit about the focus. The focus is actually trying to detect biomarkers for the neurodegenerative conditions and finding ways to translate this knowledge into personalized feedback for those who are affected, so the patients themselves, but also people around them, family, as well as the caregivers. And so we have a specific focus on 2 points as presented here. So detection of biomarkers and creating opportunities for innovative supported care. So that's both of them are equally important in this ICAI lab. Next slide, please. We also have quite some partners involved in here. And I will tell you a little bit in a second, a little bit more on which parts they are actually involved. But as you can see, we have smaller companies Parkinson is one of the topics that is predominant, so to speak, in this neurodegenerative conditions that we are following, but also Alzheimer as well. Next slide, please. So we have 3 work packages that we are focusing on. The first one is the automated behavior recognition with Michael Tangerman being our BP leader. And the partners are NT Neuro, Athenis, Naldus is involved in this work package, Orikami Healthcare, and info support. And basically the focus of this work package is attempt to develop algorithms for behavior recognition and trying to interpret continuous data streams from, say, video images or diversity of sensors. You could think of EMG, EEG, and those that are typically used to evaluate neurodegenerative disorders. So for the second work package, we have Richard van Wezel is our leader of this work package. The partners are Origami and ParkinsonNet. And in this work package, we try to bring together fundamental AI research and initiatives that focus on clinical applications for decision support. As you can see, this is so AI for home monitoring for this risk detection. So the clinical applications for decision support are based on outcomes of risk monitoring tools. And basically, we aim and strive for those that can be applied remotely, so at the home of the actual patient. And for the last work package, the AI for virtual case assistant, Henk van der Heuvel, Professor van der Heuvel is the one who is in the lead of this work package. We have Nivel as partners, ParkinsonNet, Stichting Open Spraaktechnologie, and Virtask. And within this work package, we try to develop high-end speech recognition AI technologies, those that will contribute to blended care models, combining in-person and virtual case solutions. So basically, this work package tries to develop virtual care assistant for elderly population that is clearly at risk for cognitive decline and for those who are diagnosed with Parkinson's disease already. So the last slide is already on. So we have the team of 3 directors, Professor Tom Heskes, who is a data scientist. Bas Bloem is our Parkinson expert, and Marianne Meinders is our scientific director, who is deeply involved also in Parkinson support and ParkinsonNet. And the 3 work package leaders that I just mentioned, Richard van Wezel, Michael Tangema, and Henk van der Heuvel. Helmer Strik is also involved in work package 3. And Luc Evers is our lab manager. And we have 8 PhD students and 3 postdocs so far. And the group is also increasing. So that's also good to hear. I forgot as well, I forgot to put the webpage in there, but if you might be interested, just let me know. And you can look it up. It's also on One Planet Research Center page. You can find both labs.
Great. Thanks, Edita. So we have 2 more minutes for questions. So if you have burning questions, just shout them out. If nobody has any questions, wait, I should open the chat actually. Okay, I don't see any questions on the chat. Tibor and Edita, I have questions for you. You just started your labs. How do you have so many PhD students? That's my question.
Should I start with this, Tibor? Well, yes, that's true, but this is also connected to the fact that we have these groups who have been working on these topics, of course, already. So in that way, the students, some of them are about to start, but some of them are actually working on the topic for a year now, at least in Rondo Lab. But I think for precision health, nutrition, and behavior, that's also the case. So this is basically something that is coming from a collaboration of research groups that have already been involved in these topics for a longer time, and having also really connection to the industry on these topics.
Okay, that's very cool. Any other questions? We don't really have too much time, but we can try to answer quickly if, I guess not. Okay, then yeah, have fun enjoying the rest of the afternoon. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining and everyone for presenting.
Thank you, Jagmor.
Sure.